What's up? It's your boy Karceno, and this is the spoiler alert loaded version of the Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice slash Lois Lane. Have you seen this bullet review? So, I'm not going to go into any elaborate breakdown of this movie on this review. This is to talk about the movie in general. As anybody who's watching this film now, if you have not seen it, you know to go left. If you have seen this film, stay here because this is where it goes down at. Because I've heard a lot of fans, basically DC fans, who think that because it's DC, we have to support it and we can't say anything negative about the film. No, don't work that way. We call it right down the line. If Marvel movies are bad, I call Marvel movies bad. I'm a DC fan more than I like Marvel as far as when it comes to the comics. I like originality, and I think they have it. Even in a film, some of Marvel movies don't transcend over that well. But what they do know and they don't neglect is the character development. Okay? They realize that you have to let your stars be the stars. Okay? Pepper Potts is not going to be seen that much. She's much phased out of Tony Stark's life. He talks to Pepper maybe a couple times on the phone. Boom, she's out of here. You know why? Because they have to focus on the stars. Okay, this film is not about Lois Lane. Okay? I understand she's supposed to be the weak link to Superman because he cares about Lois so well. Well, if you don't write that elaborately in the script, it's going to look like what we just saw today. A total wasted, useless character. And unless the SAG or whatever it is has something in her contract where it says she has to have this many minutes of screen time, Lois Lane would have been on the chopping block. Whoever was the editor of this film needed to be fired. I'd have fired him as soon as the credits start rolling. I'd be like, editor, yeah, you're out of here. You might as well walk now. Don't even go to the luncheon after this. You're fired because you didn't do your job. This movie's like 2 hours and 30 minutes. You could have cut 30 minutes out of what I just saw. I got about 20 minutes of Lois Lane running around. Have you seen this bullet? Have you seen this bullet? Have you seen this bullet? That's a bullet. I mean, and she showed it was like, yeah, it's a bullet. It kills people. Like what? What? People shoot it and it kills people. What do you want more from this bullet? It links to Lex Luthor. Who cares? Lex Luthor's doing a lot bigger stuff that he ain't trying to hide. It ain't like he's trying to hide anything. He is very vocal in trying to kill Superman. People know Lex Luthor and what he's doing in this. It's not like he's undercover doing stuff. And then they just keep putting her in these life or death situations. When the movie first started, it had a good premise. I could have made this movie. It would have been 10 times better. Just using the scenes that they had, I could have made this movie a lot better. And if Zack Snyder ever listens to this video, Zack, this is what you do. Okay? If you want to make your movie better, this is what you do. You edit. One. Get an editor. Don't make it too many layers. You're overshadowing the Batman Superman fight with moronicness. If you want people to care about the characters, you have to make them interesting or something that the fans would care about. None of the fans cared about Lois Lane. Do you know why we didn't care about Lois Lane? Because he kept being shoehorned in these situations. Have you seen this bullet? Batman fighting Superman. Stop! This is Mama! Nobody cared about that. Then she takes the rod, throws the rod in the water, then comes back. I think I need that. Now let me go over here. Oh, help. Too much. How many times did they save Lois Lane's life in this movie? 3 times? That's 3 times too many. After the first time in the desert, that was cool. Should have kept it at that. Lois somewhere else. Then you got the mom. Now, if you're going to use the mom factor, what do you need Lois Lane for? She goes all the way up there so Lex Luthor can push her off a building. First off, Lex Luthor with no gun is about 110 pounds. You go all the way to the edge in heels on a building just so Lex can push you off so Superman can come. You already got his mama. Superman's gonna come. Period. Lex Luthor couldn't think of a more creative way to call him. Batman's already calling him out with the symbol. So, what's your point? This is another thing, Zack Snyder. You did not need to have Superman go fight Batman because Lex Luthor wanted him to. That's dumb. You wasted a good premise and great idea. This is how the movie should have went for the both sides to fight each other. You started off on the right track. The country was Lex Luthor was using his brains to set the country up in scenarios to make it look like Superman was killing people or maybe endangering people's lives unnecessarily and trying to do things on his own by trying to go overextend boundaries to go save Lois Lane. The bombing at the Capitol, perfect. You know why? Because it looked as if maybe Superman did the bombing. And for Bruce Wayne to see this after seeing what happened at Wayne Tower and everything else, it's starting to hit him that Superman may be the bad guy here. And that's why Batman wants to fight him. And it's more better that way that Superman, who is the more powerful one, really don't want to fight Batman. Because in his heart, he's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. So we don't need Superman to be bad and mad and trying to fight him. He's trying to explain. Batman's the enraged person. He's the one that lost a lot. He has a lot of animosity on his back. And because of Lex's intelligence, he's turned the public against Superman as well. That's how the story should have been. We didn't need his mama tied up somewhere. If you want to do that, you could have done that later and add that as an addition. But what does Lois Lane need to be in here for? Doing all this ripping and running, and she's going to get it, and then he's got to come save her. They could have had Superman go get that spear, cut Lois Lane right out of the movie. Her talking to the other guy, the general, and get rid of that whole scene. Cut that out with her walking around with that bullet in a plastic bag. Cut out half that Daily Planet crap. No one cared. No one cared. Edit this movie down. I mean, there's a lot of stupidity in here. Then you get Wonder Woman in there who's just basically there just to pose and like turn around, look at the camera. Turn around, look at the camera. I'm like, is she modeling or is this Fast and Furious or something? She gets in the car. I'm like, well, okay, it's Fast and the Furious again. And here comes Bruce Wayne to chase her down. Then she steals this information, which is basically useless. It's a photo on there of me that he has. Then she don't even have the technology to open it. Why would you take something? You ain't got the technology. You can't get past military, all this stuff you got. You're eligible to go in there and take it when you got all this power. But you don't know how to get past encryption codes? What was the point? So she took it for no reason. Then here comes the shoehorn again. Zack Snyder and his desire to show these dreams and these other scenes, and it's gonna look beautiful because he's a visionary, and all these dream sequences that don't really fit. The post-apocalyptic Batman scenes, that looked interesting. I said, well, when they were fighting in the desert with Batman, that looked interesting. But Superman going crazy killing, and it's like Batman killed Lois or something. It was like post-apocalyptic. That dream or whatever, that looked more realistic and more interesting than the Batman versus Superman. And then to mess it all up, you've shown way too much information on the trailers. We've seen the majority of this stuff already. It's like, we've seen it already. We know what's finna happen. We know he's finna get kicked. We know here come the kryptonite. We know here come... You could predict this movie down because they showed you so much prior. In the network, in the studios, they knew. They knew this movie was not good. And that's why they kept trying to give people more and more and more. Give them more. Give them more. Yeah, this gotta come see it. We know it sucked, but you gotta come see it. It's just a good film on top of another film. But you gotta come see it. Now, when they did this movie, I knew the Death of Superman was in it. Once I saw the Doomsday guy, I said, okay, they're gonna do Death of Superman. Superman's gonna die. He's gonna come back in the next one. So, yeah, they're gonna do the Death of Superman. Knew it right away. Didn't have to see the movie. Nothing. The only thing that was cool was that, and I never thought about it, Batman and Superman's mothers or whatever, they both named Martha. But to have that be the key point to make him say, he's my friend. Already? You were just trying to kill him just 10 minutes ago. He's my friend. I'm a friend of your son. Be like, already? Just because your name Martha? Your name's Martha. Nah, you're my mom too. Oh, God. My goodness. Batman was the only great spot in here. When I got to see Batman fight, even though I don't know how he did the bullets to the head, he would have at least had a concussion getting shot in the head. Batman was the brightest spot in the movie. Every scene with Batman in action was worthy. I mean, I didn't need to have Superman in the movie, actually, when they showed Batman in action going there chasing. Why? Because Batman's human. Okay, and why Batman is so relevant and why he resonates with people, because he don't let women tie him down. Selena Kyle didn't get in his way. Batman gonna still do what he gotta do. See, he keeps that nonsense at a minimum. Batmobile, amazing. 50 cows, bullets flying. I mean, this is the darker Batman, so I guess they gonna go with that, but he's just tearing and ripping people up. You saw the Batwing. It was nice. Everything's going around. That's decent. And here comes Superman to mess everything up. It's like he had no real reason to go after Batman. The reasoning was not even put on paper or anything. It was just terrible. It was just like, he ain't got no reason to go after Batman, but we gotta make him care about Gotham. Care about what's happening to the criminals. It's like, really? That's all you could come up with? Man. I swear, it's like DC probably heard a lot of good ideas and said, those are good ideas. What do you got, Zach? I really got a whole bunch of ideas. Okay, Zach, well, you go ahead and do that. We know Zach. We're going to go with him. We're going to trust what Zach says. And it's like, well, why would you going to trust what Zach says? Why you ask everybody else what they thought then? If you're just going to run off what Zach does. And Zach is a great visionary, but as far as storytelling, he cannot keep up with the pacing for nothing. This is Sucker Punch Part 2. Somebody brought that up in one of the videos. It's like, he's the guy that did Sucker Punch. I'm like, no words. That's all we need to know. Sucker Punch had 4 good scenes. And then it's a dream sequence. Like, every time they go in to get information, it's so choppy. The story, you're just like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, they got to go into this. The artwork, though, and the fight scenes are amazing. But it looks pretty. Then it gets to the actual story and you see it's stupid. And the pacing is bad. And when the pacing is bad, people get disinterested. This movie, people were disinterested in like the first 45 minutes or to an hour. People were getting up, going to the bathroom, getting popcorn. That's a bad sign. Do you understand why? because nothing's happening. It's too much chatter and it's sounding empty. Lex Luthor, no one gravitated to him because he was a terrible Lex Luthor. Terrible. He is one of the real kryptonites. Your movie is only as good as your villain. Okay? Thor, Dark World. Terrible movie. Terrible. Why? Because Loki wasn't the villain. Loki was the key to Thor being successful. Because he was a great villain. Avengers. Loki. The villain. You have a great villain, it carries the movie. But when your villain is stupid and pedantic and all over the place, and he's, it's like, this is not your kind of movie. That's not how we see Lex Luthor. Ever. Only thing they had was that Lex had hair, he was redhead. He was a redhead. So that's the only thing they had right about Lex Luthor. Other than that, nothing. He didn't sound like a genius. He didn't seem like a genius. All of a sudden, all he had to do was take the fingerprints of Zod to go run the whole ship, learn about 100,000 planets, and what, a day? And one day he learns all of this information about planets, less than a day, and he's able to make Doomsday from what all the information he done learned about the planets from the ship. It is so, people don't realize how much they have botched this movie. It was so easy to do this. So easy to do. Very easy to make Batman versus Superman work. They overcomplicated the situation so that now when you see Doomsday come on the scene, it's meaningless. People didn't even care because it hadn't been introduced right. And he looked like a big mud pile, and he just comes up and just starts fighting for no reason. He's fighting Superman, and they're going at it, and they explode, and they fighting out in the streets, and all he's doing is he keeps improving, and he's just standing in one spot. He's leaping from place to place. I said, this is bad. This is really bad. So you don't care about Lex Luthor. You don't care about the Lord of the Rings monster that's just popped up on the scene. The troll from Lord of the Rings is out there. You don't care about any of it. So when Superman gets stabbed and it's the death of Superman, it's not. You don't care because you haven't been vested in the whole Superman situation in the beginning. Because you're so sick and tired of Lois Lane. You're so sick and tired. Had they cut her out for a while and brought her back in, you would have probably felt a little bit of something. Because here she missed all this time with Superman. And now he's dying or dead. And she didn't get a chance to have that closure. Those type of things is called tension. How can you make movies and not know how to do that? In case you guys think I'm just some guy that's just randomly going off and don't watch films or just watch a little, I watch over 200 movies at the theaters a year. Okay? Seriously, it's no joke. People know me will tell you, I'm always at the movies. I watch film. I watch how film is developed. I read the credits when it's a DVD. I want to know everything that went down in making these films because I'm a fan of film. But fan reaction and how they react to certain scenes, that's the thrill, that's the joy, that's what you want. You want to see the tension, you want to see the climax, you want to see how much they're vested in your project. And when you see it, not being represented the way it should be, then you feel cheated. And I felt the fans were cheated with this. This movie was a way to steal your money. It's like, look, we know it's bad, but let's see how much money we can get out of it. Maybe we can salvage, the damage won't be so bad. But it's going to be bad. Because it's bad. Fans want to like it. That's why they're liking it. But it's a good movie, but the expectations of it is it could have been great. That's the sad part, is that it had the potential to be really, really good. And now a Batman versus Superman movie is going to be looked at as a B-movie joke that you see on TMC or whatever. It might be on cable quicker than you can imagine. And it'll be something you're skipping past until it gets to the scenes you want to see. So you're going to blow off almost the whole hour, first hour of the movie. So those who saw the movie and said it was amazing, they're lying. They're just trying to ignore the fact of how bad it really was. How it was mangled. And it could have been a lot better. A lot better. They wasted a great performance by Ben Affleck. A great performance of Batman. Everybody was worried about him. I wasn't. I knew he could deliver this type of Batman. They needed a Batman that can go with rage. Who can definitely pull this off and play an aggressive, physical Batman. He needed to be. And Ben Affleck put on some weight. I mean, he was buffed. He was ready for the war. And that's what it was. It was wartime. And that's what he brought. He was getting ready to fight Superman. Great dialogue. Every scene he had with Jeremy Irons as Alfred was excellent. Excellent execution, excellent knowledge and on the scenes, everything. Then he kind of gives like a nod to Tom Hardy and them and start going with the Revenant when he goes into his family's history. He was like, "Oh, your family history," and Alfred's like, "What were they, bankers?" He's like, "No, they used to collect pelts and trade them with the French. They were hunters." And he walked off. So that's what his family come from. And basically, if you've seen the movie The Revenant, that's what they were. They were hunters. For making trades with pelts, and most of them was giving them to the French. And even some of the Indians have made deals with the French and giving them pelts. And that's how it started. So basically, I guess Tom Hardy, who played Bane, is related to him, or Leo DiCaprio. Is related to the Waynes. They're the first Wayne family. First Waynes. So, trading pelts. But that was interesting. I mean, I loved all their dialogue and the chemistry between those two. It just did not resonate with the rest of the film. Now, y'all tell me, after watching this review, what you think after you saw the movie. And saw this review that called you out on your BS. It's your boy Karceno. I'm out.